Will. First of all, maybe do you want to let us know how long have you been with us now?
I've been with you for about a year now.
What was the trigger for booking a call and coming on?
I think the biggest trigger was we'd been trading for a few years and we were breaking even. We just had won a contract worth over £1 million. And I realised we had no structure, planning or systems in place. I was a bit worried and I didn't really understand the business side of things, see? So I thought I'd best get some business coaching.
There was no structure.
We didn't have any office staff. It was all on me, basically.
Yeah, all on you. And out of interest, when you first come on board, what was your rough turnover at that point?
I think we traded the year before at 1.5 million.
So this was the reason for the initial reach out. On 1.5 million, that's pretty decent turnover. How was it profitability wise?
2%. We broke even, basically.
So high turnover, but the important bit was the profits just weren't there at the time, were they? So you were tying that break even back to a lack of structure in the business, a lack of systems, and you struggle to scale, isn't it?
Definitely.
So
I clients as well.
So difficult clients. In what way?
Just the non-pays.
What did you focus on first?
We both spoke about the first thing we should get on board was bringing somebody in the office, helping out, and we brought in an office manager.
How did that help?
Massively. That was a game changer, I think. A lot less stressful in it. You can go home and actually switch off a little bit.
The good thing about an office manager is that there's a multiple array of roles an office manager can do. You can potentially have an office manager that actually comes in and is just like an admin support for you, but just steps up and takes on that officer manager role. Or if you've already got a lot of admin support, the office manager might sit above them and look after everyone for you. What was the office manager doing for you?
They're putting structures in place, systems, invoices.
Yeah, quite high level stuff, actually. That's awesome. What else? What was the next thing you fixed?
I think the business didn't understand anything on the business side of things. Profit margins, overhead and profit. We didn't understand it. Structuring your business spreadsheet. Now I look at it every other day. Every project's itemized. Every profit is recorded for profit and expenses every week. Every bricklayer, we find out if he's earning money or losing money. If they're losing money, we change. We get rid.
How are you tracking that?
Xero.
Zero. Okay. So are you using Zero projects? Okay. All right. Awesome. And just out of interest, how many guys are you running, Will?
We're down to about 50 men at the moment.
50. Yeah. I don't think we said this at the beginning of the call, did we? What you actually do, Will?
Bricklayer, contractor.
We've got bricklayer with around 50. So it's a big team. That's actually quite interesting that Zero's able to do that, tracking all of the guys. So are you actually doing the tracking or is it your office manager that does that? How does that work in reality?
Office manager, you put an invoice, you assign it to a project. Every expense and every weekly wage gets assigned to a project, and it spits out your numbers.
Yeah.
And a click of a button.
So that's something to think about. If you're struggling and you don't want to use a software tool, most of you will be using Xero. So you could just use Xero for tracking team. And they can't log in and log out on that. This is a manual thing that happens.
They just send me a weekly invoice, and then we upload the invoice PDF, put it into Xero, and assign it to a project.
Got it. Okay. Tracking was key. What else on your numbers did you learn or fix?
Another big thing was retention. We work a 3% down to 0 if we can get it to 0, but sometimes they don't allow that. We've stopped offering the construction discount, contractors discount. Most contractors try and push for it, but you just say no.
Yeah, interesting that.
That's our pricing cheap, basically. That's what we've done.
The main contractor discount, because sometimes, there'll be some on this call that are the main contractor, so they'll be pushing for it. But we've obviously got subcontractors on this call as well. Sometimes the danger is that we just expect that you have to offer that. You think, if I don't offer the main contractor discount, I'm not going to win it. But for you to be confident that you don't have to offer that, did anything else change for you? If you're scratching around for work, you might feel that you have to offer that sort of stuff.
If it's compulsory, like a company policy, we'd just put the 2.5% retentions, payment terms, big thing. That £1 million contract we were talking about was monthly payments. I emailed and I was going to walk away from the job on monthly. And they came back at me 2 weeks later and agreed fortnightly payments, which was cash flow. If we'd done monthly, we'd have been struggling up against it.
That's pretty big. So let's just pause there for a second. I just want to throw this out to the group. Is there anything you can learn from that you might be able to steal from Will? We talked about the finances he got in place. He sorted out the tracking of his team. He got his retentions down from 5% discount. and brought his payment terms down to 14 days. Is there anything out of that you think, yeah, I need to do that? I can see why that's going to help me. Just put that in the chat if there's anything there that's resonating. And as they're doing that, Will, what was the conversation like when you were reducing it from 5% to 3% to 0? How did those conversations go? Were they easy? Did you just go confident, or?
To be honest, I think from 5% down to 3% wasn't a big game changer. If they want you, but on the smaller jobs, you can kind of bend the arm a little bit and they'll accept it.
Yeah.
Brickwork's a bit different because once it's built, there's not many defects. That's me selling point on that, really.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah, nice. So Jeff's just asking, what's retention? Retention is where if you're doing a project, they would hold a percentage back. If your project was 100 grand and you had a 5% retention, they would hold back 5 grand on that project until the end. And in fact, they would hold that back on every single invoice that you send them. But we'll manage to get that reduced to 3% or even 0 in some cases. So that's pretty good. Sometimes we really worry about the conversation that we're going to have with someone about that. The guy we had in here last year, I can't remember his name now, but he was a roofer and he did big work for Persimmon Homes, the big home builders. He got it down to 7 days, his payment terms, because they were just desperate to use him because he was great. And it was unheard of. He didn't even think he could ask, but when he did, they would do it. They will bend over to accommodate you if needed. So that's awesome. We've got the financial side that has been sorted out. Big changes with the payment terms, the retention, and the way you're tracking things. We got processes resolved with your office manager coming in.
I think working with better clients is one of the best things, credit checking them. And when you're subcontracting in an area, you get to know a lot of other subcontractors. So you before we start with somebody else new, we'd always ring around and we'll ask questions. And we're not interested in any of these idiots anymore, to be honest. I'd rather get me trowel out of the cupboard.
I've seen that firsthand with you because you did go through a little period maybe 4 months ago where we were talking about work you were having coming in and it went a little bit quiet, but you were pretty resolute in what you were going to do. So what did you do during that period? Because you didn't just take on anything, did you?
No, we went on the slow side and cut numbers a small bit. We must have about 40 to 50 tenders on the board at the moment. We got 3 or 4 tenders coming in last week. Not taking all rubbish to keep busy is good because we're not that busy. So we can take on these better clients now and better jobs. It's looking good.
Yeah, so you held your note for actually a number of months.
Yeah,
before it started playing out because you knew it was going to turn around. So maybe there's something you can take from that at the moment if you're listening to this. If you're a little bit quiet, obviously when you are quiet, we don't want you completely running out of work, but at the same time, we don't want you taking on anything rubbish just to tide you over. And then, especially when you're doing big projects, if you're going to be stuck with a client for 6 months or a year and you know it's the wrong move, you're probably better off just holding fire, shrinking the team down a little bit, and then waiting for those good opportunities to come in.